Hello and thanks to all the followers, viewers, keynote speakers of Mentor Talks. A special thanks to Ashish Khare for inviting me to speak on this conference today. I was supposed to be going live with you guys, but due to an unforeseen travel to a hill town called Missouri, I had to come down. I had to settle a property issue and I had to travel here, because of which I could not be live, but I obviously didn't want to miss the opportunity of connecting with you people or being with you people at in some form or the other. So hence this recorded video. My apologies for not being live. It's my loss, it's my regret. But I'll try and convey what I wanted to convey definitely through this video. Mentor Talks is about mentoring. It's about the startup ecosystem which India has so well created, is trying to create, is trying to build. And I think mentors have a key role to play. I don't think without mentors, any of the startup would have probably, there are startups who probably been their own mentors mentors can take many forms. You could have a formal mentor appointed, or you could be having somebody who's known to you, even a junior who could be a mentor. Nevertheless, just a brief about the current situation as far as the startups and MSMEs are concerned. I think if you would all have observed that the government, while announcing, particularly the Indian government, while announcing the SOPs and the relief measures after COVID-19 or during COVID-19 lockdown phase or thereafter, they have been speaking more about the MSME sector, which is micro, small and medium enterprises. They have not particularly spoken about startups, which does not mean that the government doesn't care for startups anymore, or someone is not conscious of the fact that India is one of the biggest startup ecosystems in the world. I think what the government tried to do was to encompass startups within the MSMEs. After all startups are MSMEs, and all MSMEs at some point were startups. So I think there's a very thin line. Of course, startup is a very specialized field which requires one to be conscious and cautious of certain things before you move forward. But I think MSMEs pretty much encompass the whole ecosystem of startups in a different way. So therefore, I'll speak something about the MSMEs as to what opportunities this is opening now in this changed world after Corona. We all know that we have suddenly in a spate of, I would say, 3 to 4 months, maybe 5 months, maybe 6 months in some countries, suddenly the world has become a different place to do business. A world where things have become easier, a world where things have become difficult, a world where things are no more the same. So I think all businessmen, entrepreneurs, startups, MSME owners, proprietors, partners, directors, whatever you may like to call them. For me, it's just a business owner. Let's use one term, business owner. So I think never before have businesses faced a more challenging time after the World War II. From 1939 to 1945, for those 6 years, I don't think on this conference webinar there is anybody who's old enough to have witnessed that era, but we all have read about it. And this is unprecedented. We've never seen this. But you know the good thing about this, that if you've seen this kind of crisis, you can probably brave yourself out of any crisis in the times to come. So with the world changing, the whole business environment changed, the way you do business changed. Businesses which were dependent on physical interaction have suffered massively. To name a few, on the economic front, if I go into the macro level of businesses, I say the hospitality industry, the aviation industry, the restaurant industry, the event management industry, they have suffered really, really badly. We all know, even as we talk today, some of them are far from even starting, forget about getting normal. And there have been industries which have flourished in this crisis. The crisis has brought an opportunity, as you know, the leaders and a lot of people whom you interact, as a matter of motivation, they say there's always an opportunity in crisis. So I think though for those industries, things have changed. Things have changed for the better. To name a few: pharmaceutical, information technology, chemicals, anything connected with the digital world, telecom sector. These are the few industries who really, really flourished. I mean, as we observe their Q1, the Indian financial numbers, the numbers are very encouraging, and it shows that while we were all locked down in our premises, there were some businesses which were really doing well, and they were doing better than any other times. So I think the new opportunity which is thrown when we talk of startups in particular, and when I talk of startups, I'll always be encompassing MSMEs, and when I talk of MSMEs, I'll always be encompassing startups within the frame. So for the startups, I think the new opportunity which has come, if I talk in the Indian context, and I talk of the MSME sector, which is contributing about 29% to the GDP of the country. It employs 11 crore people. It contributes to India's exports to the extent of 45%. So such is the importance of MSME, and a very revealing data came out just a couple of weeks ago, that when the government decided to change the definition of MSMEs, well, MSMEs, as you all must be knowing, they were defined by the kind of investment they had made, the quantum of investment they had made in their businesses. But I think COVID reforms made them change the definition, which was already in discussion for a few years, but probably it speeded the things up. And now it's based on turnover. And with this, I'm not going to go into the slabs, which is easily available on the net. You can just Google them out. You'll know, what is the turnover limit as far as the micro is concerned, the small is concerned, the medium is concerned. But what the change definition did was that now 99% of the businesses in India, mind you, 99% of the businesses in India are MSMEs. So no government, no business decision, no strategy, no policy, no campaign can be designed which pertains, of course, to the business world while ignoring the MSMEs. I mean, it's literally impossible. 99%. It's almost, this country, we can call it as an MSME country for that matter, where those 1% are those, listed large companies. So I think there has been a paradigm shift, and the government focus has been, China counted in the minds of the government all through. And I think the new opportunities which have been thrown up for MSMEs, if you ask me as an economist, a business analyst, a startup advisor, is that we found that there weren't many startups. The startups were coming around, designing apps, designing tech-based solutions, designing aggregation-based models, designing replicated models, and so on and so forth. Good, they've been doing very well. Some of them have become unicorns. But let's not forget, and we are all sitting here coming from the startup world, well, we all know how high is the percentage of startups which fail in this country. So There must be something wrong somewhere which makes them fail, and makes them fail in such a large quantity, in such a large number. So I think if there are, I know at least dozens and dozens of startups who come to me who say that we tried this out, put in a lot of money, got the best of people, somehow it didn't work out. So I don't want to go into, what made you fail, or what were the situation, what were the circumstances under which you probably could not make it as a success. I would rather like to throw light upon the new opportunity which even those failed startups who probably given up their dreams of running a business, I would rather give you an alternate. And ladies and gentlemen, the alternate, believe me or not, lies in going back to the old school of manufacturing. I remember when I was a kid, the businessmen were real businessmen were manufacturers. In fact, anybody who was not manufacturing, I'm talking of probably 30 years ago when I was very young with my dad. My dad owned a few manufacturing units of bath towels and linens and bed covers and bed sheets. He had 3 big units. And as a child, I watched him, and his friends and his peers and our relatives used to say, "Oh, you're into manufacturing, you'll probably not have any hair left on your head because it gives you so much stress." Well, then I think the business environment, the whole ecosystem changed, and today, after so many years, we are in a totally different environment where we think of technology, we think of tech-based solution, we think of becoming billionaires through technology. But ladies and gentlemen, the real opportunity which I wanted to convey to you through this video interaction today is that the opportunity lies, the magic word is going to be manufacturing, and government on its part, I can tell you, within the bureaucratic limitations, within the the framework in which typical government of India works, within the mindset with which the government whole mechanism works, I can still tell you that there's going to be a lot of impetus on manufacturing. So the big opportunity lies in manufacturing. You know what is happening in China. We heard Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State in the United States, saying that we are all very happy to get connected to India, and India provides a promising opportunity for us to do business. And you can very well imagine domestically how much lies in manufacturing, because every single thing that we were using in our lives, including, mind you, the medium through which I'm reaching you, I can tell you 1 million components, 1 million plastic items, 1 million metal items, 1 million drug intermediaries. I can just spend rest of my time on listing out the items. Were coming from China, $60 billion of imports in India coming from China, and we were exporting to them about 16 billion. So it's 60 versus 16 total bilateral trade with China of $76 billion. This is just with China. You can imagine how much the whole world was dealing, and China was exporting $2.5 trillion worth of merchandise to the whole world. Imagine India's total economy size is $2.9 trillion, and China's export only is $2.5 trillion. I can safely use the word was instead of is, because things may not be the same ever again. What China, and I think it's that frustration in China which made it do mischievous things like the Galwan Valley and the South China Sea, harassing and bullying the nations around, those small nations around, running into land disputes, the expansive policies, colonial policies of acquiring land here and there, encroaching land, breaching the borders, so on and so forth. So I think India has got the capability to capture that manufacturing supply chain from China, and the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, is right here. So to all the startups, to all the incumbents, to all the aspirants who are looking to do business, who are looking to start business, for God's sake, And on my advice, think manufacturing. I know land, labor, electricity connection, licenses, registrations, a million of them sometimes, although things have been eased. Raw material, finished product, marketing, purchase, feeding the inspectors, bribe, corruption. Despite all this, I'm sure you're going to make your dream come true, because manufacturing is going to be the next big thing in this country. So when we talked of startups, we rarely talked of manufacturing. Rarely talked of manufacturing. I mean, I've been in touch with hundreds of them. I think point something percent must have gone into manufacturing. In fact, the ones who went into manufacturing, you'll be surprised, were never called startups. They were just called business owners, or somebody just starting a business. And that's what startup is, by the way. But now, I think let the startup ecosystem walk into the world of manufacturing. Or if I say the other way around, let manufacturing walk into the startup ecosystem. And I can tell you, the unicorns that we built over these years, few of them, let's say probably 25, 30 of them over the last few years. The next unicorns, believe me, are going to come from manufacturing, because you're going to get tremendous support from the government on all the vices that I mentioned. You will have a whole world as your market. Notwithstanding the 132 crore people who live in this country called India, the whole world can be your market. And that's what China was doing. China was at par with us in 1980. We were ahead of China in 1980. It built itself into a $15 trillion plus economy, second largest economy in the world. And the key, the magic word was manufacturing. Of course, there's another magic word, which is coming true for our country also, which is the support from the government. What Chinese did for their manufacturers, probably India will take some time, or may probably never be able to reach again. But despite that, I think Indian manufacturers are in for a role. So think manufacturing. Do not run away from manufacturing. Let the next startup revolution be the manufacturing revolution, even if it's small factories in 100 square yards, 200 square yards, 50 square yards, those tiny units and machines and people working day and night and shifts and so on and so forth. Let those technology shifts of working for United States or Europe, working at night, working at the US time, the European time, let not that habit of working in shifts die. Convert that habit into manufacturing by shifts. You're doing for your own country, you're doing for the world, and a lot of money to be made there. So I think I'll like to thank MentorCard. I don't want to drag my video for too long, because I had a lot to say. In fact, I had so much to say that I could have probably captured, with due apologies, I could have captured the entire talk time of you all. I don't mind saying that, because there's so much that I need to speak about MSMEs, the startups, and the new opportunities. But I thought I'll use these 15-20 minutes just to pick up one big opportunity at an macroeconomic level, which has come our way right here. So with those words, ladies and gentlemen, thanking Ashish Khare, MentorCard, and Mentor Talks. It was an absolute privilege to be in the company of, to be on the same platform as eminent speakers like you. I wish I could have named all of them. But I bow my head in front of all of you and salute your knowledge, experience, and the words of wisdom which you've shared with hundreds and thousands of people who've connected with MentorCard conference today called Mentor Talks. So with those words, ladies and gentlemen, I take your leave. I wrap up this session here while wishing you all great success in the times to come. Do look after yourself. We are not yet out of this pandemic, and it is only care which can keep us away from the deadly virus which has turned the world topsy-turvy. Thank you so much. Take care. Good luck.